We're actually going to start standing up today. So I'm going to move the cushion I'm seated on. Again, you might want to have a sturdy chair. You don't have to, but in some situations, maybe you want to use that for modifications. You might want a pillow. So I've just got a pillow nearby in case you want that closer to the end. So we're going to start off in a standing position. And let's just work on releasing the morning and getting ourselves here in this present moment by doing some shaking. So start out with your feet just in a neutral hip distance apart. Let's start with just a gentle little shaking of the wrists. We're going to shake our whole body, but let's just start with the wrists. So just light little shaking and then start to work its way up the arm, getting it into the shoulders, and then starting a gentle little bounce, bouncing in the knees, just gentle and think release. Taking a big inhale here and an releasing exhale, letting go. Now coming to one side and then just shake out your leg. You may need to tap it down and then come back to center for a couple more bounces. Putting your weight onto the other side, shake out that other leg. It doesn't have to be major shakes. And one more time, full body shake and release. Take one more big breath here. Exhale, letting go. And then come to stillness and just pause and notice how you're feeling. You might get this buzzing sensation going through your body. Just enjoy that for a moment. Now we're going to do some tapping, taking your fingertips, starting with the crown of your head and just tapping the top of your head, the back of your head, moving to the back of your neck and coming through your shoulders over to the front. So on your chest, you're now with your fingertips, just tapping all along your chest. Beautiful. Now take gentle little fists and turn that tapping into gentle little fist taps along your chest here. And then with a cupped hand, cupping and tapping your shoulder, think releasing tension from there. And we're going to work our way down the outside of the arm, tap down the outside, and tap up the inside of the arm. Let's do that again, starting with the shoulder. Release some tension there, tap down and tap up. Those gentle fists, work your way over to the other side of your chest. Cupped hand tapping the opposite shoulder and tap down the outside and up the inside. We'll do that one more time. So we're going to do a full body tap, releasing stagnant energy throughout the whole body and giving our body a little wake up. Once again, tapping and then tapping down your chest. And then bringing your hands, could be the back of your hands or cupped hands. I like doing the back of my hands, up and down your low back, over your kidneys here. So just tapping up and down your low back. And we're breathing as we do this. And with your cupped hands again, tapping along the outside of your glute and down the outside of your legs to your ankles and up the inside of your legs, ending at your hip joints here. A few little taps here, and let's do that again. Starting at the outer edge of your glutes, out, down the outside of the legs towards the ankles, up the inside of the legs, ending at our hip joints. And then once again, just pause and notice how you're feeling. Again, you might get this buzzing sensation as you just cleared your energy and worked out some stagnancy there. Beautiful. All right. So now thinking of your chin, and again, just in this comfortable feet or hip distance apart, hands are relaxed at your side, leading with your chin, send your chin up towards the ceiling, and then send your chin to your chest. Inhale, lift your chin, get a nice stretch the front of the neck. And exhale, lower the chin to chest, getting a stretch at the back of the neck. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, lower the chin. Good afternoon, Helen. Glad you're here. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, lower. Now let's add our arms with this. Inhale, lift the chin as the hands come up to the ceiling, towards the ceiling, sorry. Exhale, lower the chin as your hands come back down to your side. Inhale, lift chin and hands as you inhale. Exhale, lower chin and hands. Do that a couple more times. Finding a rhythm with your breath. Inhaling up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhaling, breath with movement. Exhaling down. And find a neutral stance. Beautiful. Let's get into our shoulders a little bit more, thinking of our shoulder blades. I want you, oh no, first, let's think of our shoulders, raising them up to our ears. I forgot what I wanted to do first. And then lower those shoulders away from the ear. Inhale, lift shoulders towards ears. Exhale, lower and relax the shoulders. Do it a couple more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Relax your jaw as you go. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Great. Thinking of your shoulder blades, bringing your shoulder blades towards each other as if you're trying to squeeze a pencil, and then relax. Inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Feel a nice opening of the front of your chest, working the muscles throughout the upper back, and relax. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, squeeze that pencil. Exhale, relax. Now we're going to bring our shoulders, the front of our shoulders together. So think of lengthening your shoulder blades. They're trying to separate from each other. I like to bring the backs of my hands towards each other and then relax. So you could think about inhaling as you're lengthening your shoulder blades apart. Bring your shoulders forward and exhale, relax. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lengthening out your upper back, and exhale, relax. Now let's bring all of that together, starting with squeeze that pencil shoulder blades together, then bring your shoulders up towards your ears, and then forward, lengthen out, separate your shoulder blades, and then bring everything back down. So we're making big circles here. So engage your shoulder blades, lift your shoulders up to your ears, bringing your shoulders forward and down. So continue these shoulder rolls, but we're really doing it with purpose because we are working all of the muscles of the upper back. Now, as I was putting this together, so I can't remember if it's 17 or 22, one of those numbers, there's a lot of muscles in our upper back. And by doing it nice and slow in these different intentional ways, today we are working all of those muscles. Relax that out. Ah, beautiful. Let's do something for our wrists now. Taking your hands out front, clasp your hands, and you're going to gently start to shake your hands and your forearms. Now, option to add some funny sounds here. Take a big inhale and hum on your exhale. Hopefully you are alone. If you're not and you feel silly, just do the shaking. Otherwise, inhale and exhale. Feel that humming in your jaw, vibrating in your shoulders. This is helping stimulate your vagus nerve with that humming and bringing you into that calm, relaxed state. Let's do one more. Hmm. And then relax your hand down by your side. So, with our hands out at the sides, we're going to do an internal rotation, bringing both. You can make gentle little fists with your hands, internally rotating your shoulders, and then externally rotating. So, thinking of the shoulder, the rotator cuff in the shoulders, they're coming forward and they're going back. Once you get that into your body, you could start to bring your hands up to midpoint and then start to bring them up to more like a star position, and then start to lower them back down. So you're still doing that rotation, that internal rotation, external rotation. And once you come back down at your side, do that one more time, going up and down, and making sure that you're still breathing, finding a nice rhythm with your breath, relaxing your jaw. Watch that you're not gripping your toes into the ground. And then bringing your hands down by your side. Good. So, starting with one hand out to the side, do an internal rotation. Sorry, no, scratch that. Let's start over. External rotation first. Externally rotate, palm up to the ceiling. Now, internal rotation, palm forward. Take that back of the palm and place it somewhere on your lower back, wherever feels appropriate for you. Once it's settled there, look to the other shoulder. So you're looking to the other shoulder, come back to center, and then opposite ear drops down to opposite shoulder and back to center, and unwind that arm. Let's do that two more times. Arm slightly out, palm up towards the ceiling, external rotation, palm forward, internal rotation, bringing that back of the hand, resting on your low back. Look to the opposite shoulder, center, ear to that opposite shoulder, center, and undo. One more time. Palm up towards ceiling. Maybe that pinky can go up. And then internal rotation, back of the palm to your low back. Look to the shoulder, center, ear to the shoulder, center, and relax that out. Good. So let's even ourselves out with the other side. Arms slightly out. Take that palm up towards the ceiling, external rotation, internal rotation, palm forward, and bring the back of the palm resting on your low back. Might feel different this time. Look to the opposite shoulder and center, ear to opposite shoulder and center, and unwind. Do that two more times. External rotation, palm up, internal rotation, palm, back of the palm to your back. Look towards the opposite shoulder, center, ear to opposite shoulder and center, and unwind. Good. One more time. Maybe you can go, biggest one yet, maybe pinky can go a little bit further up. And then internal rotation, bringing behind you. Look to the opposite shoulder, center, ear to opposite shoulder, and center, and unwind. Lovely. Let's get a little bit of love for our lower body here. So thinking of our pelvis, we're going to do a slight little pelvic rotation. And to start, it might feel nice to place your hand over your lower abdomen and your one hand at your lower back. And we're going to do like this little tilting back and forth. So we've got this sending the front of your pelvis forward ever so slightly, and then send your tailbone away from you ever so slightly. So it doesn't have to be big moves. This can be little. Another way you could think about it is thinking of your ribs and your hip bone, front of your hip bone, trying to come together and then sending them away from each other. Shortening the front, lengthening the front. So a couple of different ways to do that. Once you get it into your body, you could just rest your hands. You could have your hands on your hips, whatever feels nice. We're just getting some blood flowing into our pelvic floor. And relax that. So now we're going to add some upper body work while we do those pelvic tilts. So taking your elbows out to the side like these goalpost arms, we're going to bring our elbows together as we round forward, shortening the front so the ribs to hip connection. And then opening up those goalpost arms. And again, now we're lengthening that front. Rounding forward as your pelvis comes forward. And then opening up, tailbone lifts a bit. So find now a rhythm with your breath as you come forward. I like to inhale as I open up and exhale as I come forward. But again, find your own rhythm. And I'll show from the side as well. So this is just a gentle little pelvic rotation and a nice opening of the chest and lengthening of the spine. You have a nice gentle bend in your knees. Now, the next time you come up, open up to one side, getting a gentle little twist, and then coming back to center. Opening up to the opposite side and coming back to center. Do that one more time, each side. Open up to the side and center. So if you're with me, you're inhaling as you open, lifting your heart, and exhaling, center. And then bringing yourself back up. Good. Giving a little tail wag as if you had a tail. You're just wagging your tail side to side, feeling that in your hips. Good. We're going to make our way down towards the floor, but before we do, let's do a wide-legged forward fold. So taking your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, clasping your hands behind you. So either you're holding on to your forearms or you're clasping your hands if that's available to you. Lift your heart, lift your hands. You could stay here if this is enough. Otherwise, take a big inhale, lift that heart, and exhale, hinging at your hips, coming into a forward fold. So you might just be here. You could be more of a flat back, or maybe your head can lower down towards the ground. Lifting your arms if that's okay. And again, maybe you're just clasping on and your forearms are resting on your low back. So whichever feels best and available for your shoulders. Take one more cleansing breath here. Exhale, release your hands and let them just dangle and let your head dangle, nodding your head yes and no. Before coming down, we're going to lift ourselves up. You could place your hands on your hips, leading with your chest like a rope is pulling your chest back up. And once again, just wiggle your hips side to side, heel toeing your feet together. We're going to make our way down to the ground. And again, feel free to use the chair because we're going to do child's pose. If you don't like child's pose, I'll just show you here. You could always do this. But otherwise, we're going to start with being on all fours first. So come to all fours. But again, if you want to use a chair, you could be standing with your hands resting on a chair. So from our all fours, let's do that little tail wag. So look to your right hip and then look to your left hip, getting a nice spinal rotation here and wag that tail. Wherever you are, if it's too much for your wrist, you could always make fists with your wrist. Couple more little tail wags. And then come to center. Let's do one more, thinking of those shoulder blades. Push that ground or chair away from you. Again, lengthening out your upper back, shoulder blades away from each other. And then lower your chest, drop your chest towards the ground, thinking of your shoulders reaching up to the ceiling, and squeeze your shoulder blades. So push that floor or chair away from you. Then lower your chest down towards the ground, your shoulders reaching towards the ceiling. Do that a couple more times. Push away, lengthen your upper back, and then lower chest. One more time, push away and move with your breath and lower. Find a neutral position, and we're going to make our way back to child's pose. You might want to widen your legs, making space for your belly, bringing yourself down. Again, feel free to use the chair. Another nice thing is to have a pillow underneath between your glutes and your heels to raise your pelvis up a little higher. Forehead may come to the ground or chair. And just pause for a few breaths, rooting your hands into the ground, lengthening your spine. Send your tailbone away from you to lengthening. And breathe through your spine. Take one more cleansing breath here. And exhale, bring yourself back to all fours. We're going to make our way onto our back. So bring yourself down. You could always use that chair again once we get on our back, and I'll show you some different options. So bringing yourself onto your back with your feet on the ground, your knees bent, or you could place your heels onto the chair if you like to use that. Let's cross our right ankle over top of our left. So we've got like this figure 4 position. Hands could just rest at your side. If your left foot heel could be on the chair as well. So you could stay here, bending that right knee away from you. Or if it's available to you, you're pulling your left knee towards you and clasping behind the back of your left thigh. So whatever feels best for you. Another option that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my left heel up to the ground to get a extra benefit of a hamstring stretch. So getting a hamstring stretch on the left leg and feeling a nice stretch on that right hip. Take a final couple of breaths here. If your left leg is in the air, bend that left knee and then lower it back down to the ground if it is up, and uncross that right leg. Good. From here, before we go to the other side, just windshield wiper your knees side to side. If your heels are on the chair, again, you're just windshield wipering your knees side to side. Like a little reset. Hit the reset button. Come back to center. Let's do that on the opposite side. So left ankle on top of right thigh. Maybe this is where you stay, or your right heel might be on the chair, or you're pulling that right knee inwards, clasping behind that thigh. Wherever you are, think of sending that left knee away from your body. If you want that additional hamstring stretch for the right, send that right heel up towards the ceiling, lengthening out the back of that right leg. And breathe. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Take one more cleansing breath here. And on your exhale, start to unwind, uncross the legs. And one more time, just windshield wiper your knees side to side. Great. So let's do our final position of legs up. So a couple options. You could use that chair and once again, just resting your lower legs on the chair. That might feel really nice. You can extend your legs up with nothing underneath your tailbone, or you can take a pillow and with your knees bent, feet on the ground, pushing into your heels, you could put a pillow underneath your tailbone, underneath that bony part. So it's not in the arch of your low back, it's at the tailbone, that bony part. And this just helps to raise the pelvis up a little bit, and it's going to help get some blood flowing to your heart. Lovely. So if you are using the pillow, once that's stable, you're sending your feet up to the ceiling, or again, still using the chair. And we're just going to pause here. You might want to extend your arms out to either side in a nice little T position. Actually, while we're laying here, so we're getting some circulation going, moving it. So again, if we've been doing a lot of sitting or standing and not moving a lot, this is going to be really nice for the circulation and for the cells. Let's give a little bit of love to our wrists though, sending your fingers up towards the ceiling and start to do some rotations of the wrists and maybe add rotations of your ankles too. And then settle that down. And now send your arms out to the side or just resting at your side, or maybe hands on heart, hands on belly. Now, as we're winding things down, as long as you feel like you're okay here, if you don't like your legs up, feel free to lower them. If your eyes are closed, I encourage you to open your eyes for a moment and then soften your gaze and try to take up as much of the room as possible. Really soften your gaze so you're not trying to focus on anything. It's going to be really nice for your neck, for your eyes. And this is also another way to stimulate the vagus nerve, bring you into that state of calm and relaxation. And you could come back to focus. Close your eyes if that feels safe for you. And let's just end with some belly breathing. Again, feel free to lower your legs if you've had enough of that. I really find it soothing, so I'm gonna keep my legs up, but you can lower yours down if you've had enough of that. Placing your hands on your belly, and let's just breathe into the belly. So as you inhale, feel your belly inflate like a balloon. And as you exhale, let your belly deflate. Best as you can, sending your breath deep into your belly. Let's just do a few more soothing rounds of belly breathing before we end. Let her open your eyes if they're closed. If your legs are still up, lower your right, lower the left. If you have a pillow underneath your low back, push into your heels. You can remove that. Bring yourself to your favorite side and gently and slowly bring yourself back up to a seated position. And as we wrap things up here, let's just take a breath here together the way we began. Let's inhale our chin up, our hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, chin down, hands down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, hands up to prayer position. Prayer hands pulled into your heart. And bow forward, thanking yourself for showing up today. Thank you so much for joining me.